In a quiet apartment building in Germany, a couple tries to rebuild their relationship after a painful loss. However, their life takes a terrifying turn when overnight all exits are blocked by mysterious black walls that are impossible to destroy. Trapped with other neighbors, they must face hidden secrets, betrayals, and a threat that seems to have a technological origin beyond their understanding. What began as a struggle to escape soon turns into a race against time to survive. So today we will see a movie called Brick. In Germany, Tim and Liv enjoy their married life. Liv even becomes pregnant, and the couple is very excited about it. But things take a sad turn when Liv loses the baby. Now, Tim spends most of his time working as a programmer for a video game company, and for the past 2 years, their relationship has grown cold and distant. Over the past few weeks, their building has been covered with a large black tarp because the landlord, Friedman, is doing renovations. One afternoon, the couple chats with Friedman on the street, and he assures them everything will be ready soon. At that moment, several helicopters fly overhead, and they see a lot of smoke in the distance. It turns out there has been a large fire in the harbor area. Later, Liv reveals that she picked up her van from the shop, but seeing it only brings back bad memories for Tim. Liv also announces that she has quit her job and wants to drive to France so they can start a new life, hoping to repair their relationship. Tim refuses, saying he first wants to finish his project and that maybe they can revisit that idea later. The conversation is interrupted by a work call, frustrating Liv even more. That night, Liv cannot help but cry in bed. Above the apartment, a strange cloud appears. The next morning, Liv announces that she cannot take it anymore and will leave alone. However, when she opens the door, she finds a strange black wall blocking it. It is very solid, and pushing it does nothing. Tim checks the doorbell camera, but the screen is off. The couple runs to check the windows, only to discover they are also blocked by the same kind of wall. Liv tries calling Friedman, but the phone has no signal, and the Wi-Fi is also down. A desperate Tim yells for help and throws himself against the wall without success. While looking for a signal, Tim notices that his phone behaves strangely near the black bricks. He gets closer, and the screen begins to glitch constantly. They then try using a drill, but it cannot even scratch the strange wall. Testing it on the regular walls, they discover that those black bricks cover them as well. Suddenly, they hear noises coming from the wall they share with the neighbors. Liv uses the drill and this time manages to pierce through, allowing them to see Marvin and Anna. This couple is in the same situation. The black bricks keep them trapped, their phones do not work, and they did not hear anything during the night. Anna cries, thinking they will die there. Tim tests the kitchen sink and discovers they also have no water. He says they should just try other possible solutions like in video games, which finally makes Liv break down. She reminds him they are not in a game and could have left yesterday. After an argument, she walks away, and an angry Tim throws his phone against the black wall. Minutes later, Tim notices that a piece of his phone is stuck to the black bricks. When he pulls it away, the fragment quickly snaps back into place. Liv approaches to apologize with a cup in her hand, and Tim takes the spoon, which immediately sticks to the black bricks. The couple starts throwing various metal objects, confirming that it is magnetic. Some bricks seem stronger than others, so Liv piles the metal objects in those 4 spots. The objects begin to tremble and shoot off, prompting Tim to jump on Liv to shield her. Since Tim acted as a shield, several objects painfully pierce his back. Liv carefully removes them and cleans his wounds. Later, while having a snack, they hear screams in the neighbor's apartment. They look through the hole and see the place in disarray. The noises indicate a fight and things falling to the floor. Suddenly, the apartment falls silent, and Tim and Liv grow so worried that they begin breaking down the wall to make a larger hole. After much work, Tim grabs a bat and the couple enters. While searching the apartment, they notice bloodstains on the carpet. They finally find Anna on the floor and help her up. The women manage to leave the bedroom, but Tim is tackled by Marvin, who tries to strangle him with the bat. Liv runs back and sprays Marvin in the face with pepper spray while Tim hits him with the bat. He begins shouting, threatening to do something worse if Marvin hits Anna again. However, Anna runs to protect her boyfriend, saying he did not hurt her. She explains that she tried to hit the wall and accidentally hit him instead. Liv and Tim remain suspicious, so they tie Marvin's hands until he calms down. Afterward, Tim searches the apartment and finds a door with a no entry sign. He forces it open, and while dealing with the flickering lights, he does not notice the black bricks in the window glowing for a moment. Liv arrives to help him search, and they find several digital cameras and an axe. Tim uses it on the door without success. At that moment, Marvin wakes up and does not remember what happened, but he still apologizes when they tell him. It turns out he became violent because he took too much medication after Anna hit him. The couple apologizes to each other and begins kissing. Ignoring them, Liv gets an idea. She draws the building on the wall and explains that due to its age, it must have a wartime shelter in the basement with a tunnel connecting to the subway system. The key to reaching it is going down. Tim begins breaking the floor, and the group is delighted to confirm that the black bricks do not block it. After working for a while, they create a hole large enough to pass through. Tim descends using bed sheets as a rope and finds Oswald pointing a gun at him. Tim explains that he does not want to rob him, but Oswald does not believe him. Fortunately, his granddaughter Leah interrupts, pointing out that they will die in a few days if they do not cooperate. The others also come down, and Leah offers a ladder for the next hole. Tim finally cuts the tape from Marvin's wrists, which raises Oswald's suspicions. While Marvin starts breaking the floor, Leah becomes frustrated that her phone will not send messages. It turns out she argued with her girlfriend last night and made her leave, so they have not spoken since. Leah also reveals that she had already seen the black wall at 4 a.m. when she got up to use the bathroom. Tim notices something strange in the smoke detector and opens it, finding a camera. He asks Oswald, who did not know it was there, and explains that Friedman arranged for it to be installed. The group runs to check the kitchen smoke detector and finds another camera. It seems Friedman has been recording them the whole time. Liv remembers that Friedman lives in the apartment next to Oswald's, so they make a hole in the wall they share. The group enters and finds a large collection of exotic objects, including an ancient blade that Marvin takes. They search the place until they find Friedman dead on the floor, without arms. While Marvin runs off to vomit, Liv begins having a panic attack. Tim tries to calm her, but she runs away. Then Tim takes Friedman's phone and notices it has pictures of the black walls. Afterwards, the group returns to the other apartment and continues breaking the floor. They ask Oswald if he heard anything from Friedman's apartment before, but he says no. Oswald is very nervous, and Leah helps him take his medication. Liv looks at the newspaper and wonders if the harbor fire is related, but Tim thinks it is too far away. Suddenly, the floor gives way, and most of them fall into the next apartment, losing consciousness. Liv goes down with the ladder to check on Tim, who wakes up sore but fine. The others also regain consciousness and confirm they only have minor injuries. Oswald fears getting hurt if he goes down, but Leah says she will not leave without him. Everyone helps Oswald down the ladder and carries his oxygen tank. In this apartment, they meet Yuri, who is friends with a tenant named Anton. It turns out Anton died, and Yuri claims he suffered a sudden heart attack. He blames the magnetic properties of the wall for affecting Anton's pacemaker. However, Leah notices many strange papers piled up on a desk and grows suspicious. Yuri believes the black walls were put there to protect them by the deep state, and thinks it is safer to stay inside, so he wants the group to remain there. The others refuse and begin working on the hole. Leah checks the papers on the desk, and Yuri tells her Anton's heart failed due to the stress of his obsessions. When she leaves the room, Yuri destroys a paper. The hole is finished quickly, and the group finally reaches the basement. They open an old door and take a hallway leading to another room where they find a sealed exit. A sign indicates it leads to the shelters. While Yuri watches from the hole, Liv hits the sealed door and manages to open it. Unfortunately, this exit is also blocked by the black bricks. Marvin loses his temper and starts hitting the door with a sledgehammer, so Tim stops him, and Oswald points his gun at him until he calms down. However, Marvin only pretends and grabs the weapon to fire repeatedly at the black wall. To everyone's surprise, the bullets remain floating in front of the black bricks due to the powerful magnetic field. Remembering the earlier incident, Tim orders them to duck to avoid the bullets when they bounce back. Unfortunately, Oswald is too old to move quickly, and a bullet kills him. Leah clings to his body while crying. The group returns to the apartment, and Anna wonders if they were chosen for some reason. She says that when she was 15, she was dead for 2 minutes after a bicycle accident, and asks if anyone else had a near-death experience or something similar. Leah shares that her mother died of cancer, and Yuri explains that he killed someone while on duty as a police officer. Marvin obviously killed Oswald and keeps apologizing for it. Tim does not want to talk about their baby, but Liv tells them about the miscarriage anyway, prompting Tim to leave the room. Liv follows him and they argue about the topic, with Liv saying they must finally talk about it because they could die soon. This causes Tim to explode, and they start yelling so loudly that everyone can hear the fight. Tim complains that Liv wants him to quit his job overnight, and Liv explodes as well, saying it was not overnight. Since the miscarriage, Tim has been ignoring her in favor of his computer and has refused to talk about it, forcing Liv to deal with her grief alone. She concludes that he abandoned her and leaves the room. Determined to be more helpful this time, Tim leads the group back to Friedman's apartment to search for more clues. Leah thinks they should also check Anton's mysterious notes, ignoring Yuri when he says he has already read them all. The group splits up to search, and Leah notices that one of Anton's papers has the same pattern as the black wall. He also found the 4 special spots Liv had detected earlier. Anton's business card reveals that he worked at a nano-defense company, which could mean the wall is made of nanobots. Yuri explains that his friend was a programmer but knows no details about his work. In a drawer, they find a broken laptop and phone, leading Yuri to claim that Anton threw them at the wall in a fit of frustration. In Friedman's apartment, Tim notices that the room looks smaller than it should. He hits a wall and confirms it is hollow. Marvin finds a remote control, and when he turns it on, it activates a sensor in the wall, but they need a password. Tim blows some dust on the remote to identify the most used buttons, reducing the possible combinations to 24. Leah and Liv keep going through Anton's trash and find the word code written on a piece of paper. Suddenly, Yuri starts laughing and says that lethal radiation could enter if they open the wall. The awkward conversation is interrupted by Anna, who arrives to tell them they have found something. After several failed attempts, Tim enters the correct password, and a door in the wall opens. Inside, they find the computers spying on each apartment through the hidden cameras in the smoke detectors. When Anna and Liv arrive with Yuri, Tim begins looking for clues in the recordings and accidentally sees Marvin and Anna in an intimate situation. He finds the night of the incident and everyone watches, shocked, as a dark cloud makes the wall suddenly appear at the window out of nowhere. They also see images of Anton's body in a different place from where Yuri claimed to have found it. When Liv turns to ask him about it, he is already gone, so Marvin goes to look for him. Meanwhile, Leah moves the scarf covering Anton's body and discovers dark bruises. At that moment, Yuri appears behind her. In the computer room, the others see a video of Anton shortly before he died. He is off frame, but they notice flickering lights and sunlight coming through the stairwell, which means Anton managed to open the black wall. Anton reappears on screen when Yuri pushes him to strangle him to death. When Marvin enters Anton's room, he finds Yuri burning all the papers and Leah dead on the floor. Yuri approaches with a burning piece of paper in his hand, insisting that the wall is there to protect them. Moments later, Tim arrives with Oswald's gun and finds Yuri strangling Marvin. Yuri releases his hostage and fights Tim for the weapon, firing at the ceiling during the struggle. Marvin hits his head when he falls and is knocked unconscious. Once Yuri disarms Tim, he beats him brutally and starts strangling him. At that moment, Marvin wakes up and kicks Yuri in the face before recovering the gun. When he is about to shoot, Liv arrives to stop him, saying that Yuri might know how to get out. Yuri tries to attack again, so Tim knocks him out. While Liv closes Leah's eyes, the men tie Yuri up. Tim searches Yuri's bag and finds books on conspiracy theories. Liv tells the others that Yuri probably killed Leah because she discovered an exit like the one Anton had found. Anna checks the cameras again while Liv and Tim examine the remains of the burned papers. The wall has bricks of different sizes, which makes no sense. One of the papers describes a pattern, and Tim realizes it is a code similar to Morse, so Anton probably deciphered it. Liv shows him the card, and Tim notices that the company's address is at the harbor, where the fire occurred. The men wake Yuri, and when he refuses to talk, Marvin hits him. Tim shoots a piece of furniture very close to Yuri to prove his threat is serious, leaving him stunned for a few seconds. Yuri explains that the wall is a defense system that was accidentally activated by the fire at the harbor. Marvin thinks he cannot be trusted because he is a conspiracy fanatic and starts hitting him, so Tim pulls him away. At that moment, Anna announces she has found something. It turns out Anton had programmed an app on his phone to scan the bricks, which form a QR code. The 4 special spots must be pressed with light to open the wall. Liv brings the broken phone she had found earlier, and Tim accesses the information to recreate the app, then installs it on a working phone. The group returns to the apartment and uses the app on a door. The 4 spots appear on the screen, and Tim presses them, which finally makes the bricks turn more liquid. Anna touches them with a finger, and the substance covers it for a second before she pulls it away. Then she inserts her whole hand, saying it feels warm and that something is moving. Yuri insists it is dangerous, so Marvin hits him before asking Anna to pull her arm out. However, Anna cannot do it. The nanobots start pulling her in and also trap her leg. The others grab her to try to pull her out and notice that the wall is beginning to solidify again. Unfortunately, they are not strong enough, and the wall turns back into bricks, throwing them backward. Marvin runs to Anna's side, crying, because she is now dead and missing the lower half of her body, explaining what happened to Friedman. Yuri laughs and says the wall will never let them out, which causes an enraged Marvin to shoot him several times before taking his own life. Minutes later, Tim apologizes to Liv. He explains that on the day of the miscarriage, something inside him broke, and he did not know how to fix it. They embrace and exchange sweet words, reminding each other why they are in love. This finally helps them reconcile. Afterward, Tim decides to try the app again, thinking that perhaps he pressed the buttons in the wrong order. Liv notices that each button blinks a different number of times, so they check the recordings to figure out the sequence Anton used. At the same time, Yuri regains consciousness. When the couple is about to try again, Yuri attacks by surprise and knocks Tim down with a headbutt. He then goes after Liv, who backs away and falls through the hole. Tim kicks Yuri down and also jumps to rescue Liv. The couple runs through the basement hallway and crosses a door, which Tim holds shut to keep Yuri out. While Liv uses the app on the black wall, Yuri manages to push the door open and starts strangling Tim. The app works, and the bricks finally open. But the men keep fighting. Tim tells Liv to go without him because the wall is starting to close, but she refuses. Yuri is about to stab Tim, only for Liv to hit him from behind with the sledgehammer. The couple then crosses the final door and escapes the building. Outside, they find the town covered in black bricks. Their van is intact, so they get in and drive away. On the radio, the news confirms that the incident was caused by the fire at the harbor. I hope you enjoyed the video.